Greetings to all of you, my dear sisters and brothers, and my dear friends. A warm welcome to all of you from your Pastor Yeti. In our 52 greatest stories of the Bible, a devotional study, we are now landed on the promised land. And as usual, in the beginning of another week, I'm going to read the chapters from the Bible book. And now it is Numbers chapter 13 and 14. And then we get along with our Monday story. Numbers 13. The Lord said to Moses, "Send some men to explore the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites. From each ancestral tribe, send one of its leaders." So, at the Lord's command, Moses sent them out from the desert of Paran. All of them were leaders of the Israelites. These are their names. From the tribe of Reuben, Shammua, son of Zakur. From the tribe of Simeon, Shabhat, son of Hori. From the tribe of Judah, Caleb, son of Jephunneh. From the tribe of Issachar, Igal, son of Joseph. From the tribe of Ephraim, Hosea, son of Nun. From the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, son of Raphu. From the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, son of Zodi. From the tribe of Manasseh, a tribe of Joseph, Gadi, son of Sushi. From the tribe of Dan, Amiel, son of Gemali. From the tribe of Asher, Sethur, son of Michael, or Mikael. From the tribe of Naphtali, Zahbi, son of Vobshi. From the tribe of Gad, Goel, son of Maki. These are the names of the men Moses sent to explore the land. Moses gave Hosea, son of Nun, the name Joshua. When Moses sent them to explore Canaan, he said, "Go up through the Negev and on into the hill country." And Negev, maybe some of you or maybe a lot of people know that Negev is an area, it's a desert. So, see what the land is like and whether the people who live there are strong or weak, few or many. What kind of land do they live in? Is it good or bad? What kind of towns do they live in? Are they unwalled or fortified? How is the soil? Is it fertile or poor? Are there trees in it or not? Do your best to bring back some of the fruit of the land. It was the season for the first ripe grapes. So they went up and explored the land from the desert of Zin as far as Rehob toward Lebo Hamath. They went up through the Negev and came to Hebron, where Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak, lived. Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And when they reached the valley of Eshcol, they cut off a branch bearing a single cluster of grapes. 2 of them carried it on pole between them, along with some pomegranates and figs. Yummy. That place was called the Valley of Eshcol, because of the cluster of grapes the Israelites cut off there. At the end of the 40 days, they returned from exploring the land. Now the report on the exploration. They came back to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran. There they reported to them and to the whole assembly and show them the fruit of the land. They give Moses this account: "We went into the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here is its fruit." But the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites live in the Negev. The Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea and along the Jordan. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, "We should go up and take possessions of the land, for we can certainly do it." But the man who had gone up with him said, "We can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are." And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, "The land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim there, the descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." Numbers 14. The people rebel. That night, all the members of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, "If only we had died in Egypt or in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt?" And they said to each other, "We should choose a leader and go back to Egypt." Then Moses and Aaron fell face down in front of the whole Israelite assembly gathered there. Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had explored the land, tore their clothes and said to the entire Israelite assembly, "The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them." But the whole assembly talked about stoning them. Then the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting to all the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will this people treat me like contempt? How long will they refuse to believe in me, in spite of all the signs I have performed among them? I will strike them down with a plague and destroy them, but I will make you into a nation greater and stronger than they." Moses said to the Lord, "Then the Egyptians will hear about it. By your power you brought these people up from among them, and they will tell the inhabitants of this land about it. They have already heard that you, Lord, are with these people, and that you, Lord, have been seen face to face, that your cloud stays over them, and that you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. If you put all these people to death, leaving none alive, the nations who have heard this report about you will say, 'The Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them on an oath, so he slaughtered them in the wilderness.' Now, may the Lord's strength be displayed, just as you have declared. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in love, and forgiving sin and rebellion. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punished the children for the sin of the parents, to the third and fourth nation, in accordance with your great life and love. Love. Forgive the sin of these people, just as you have pardoned them from the time they left Egypt until now. The Lord replied, I have forgiven them, as you asked. Nevertheless, as surely as I live, and as surely as the glory of the Lord fills the whole earth, not one of those who saw my glory and the signs I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, but who disobeyed me and tested me 10 times, not one of them will ever see the land I promised an oath to their ancestors. No one who has treated me with contempt will ever see it, but because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me wholeheartedly, I will bring him into the land he went to, and his descendants will inherit it. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are living in the valleys, turn back tomorrow and set out toward the desert along the route to the Red Sea. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, How long will this wicked community grumble against me? I have heard the complaints of these grumbling Israelites. So tell them, As surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very thing I heard you say. In this wilderness your bodies will fall. Every one of you 20 years or old more, who was counted in the census and who has grumbled against me. Not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your home, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. As for your children that you said will be taking as plunder, I will bring them in to enjoy the land you have rejected. But as for you, your bodies will fall in this wilderness. Your children will be shepherds here for 40 years, suffering for your unfaithfulness, until the last of your bodies lies in the wilderness. For 40 years, 1 year for each of the 40 days you explore the land, you will suffer for your sins and know what it is like to have me against you. I, the Lord, have spoken, and I will surely do these things to this whole wicked community, which has banded together against me. They will meet their end in this wilderness. Here they will die. So the man Moses has sent to explore the land, who returned and made the whole community grumble against him by spreading a bad report about it, these men who were responsible for spreading the bad report about the land were struck down and died of a plague before the Lord. Of the men who went to explore the land, only Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, survived. When Moses reported this to all the Israelites, they mourned bitterly. Early the next morning they set out for the highest point in the hill country, saying, Now we are ready to go up to the land the Lord promised. Surely we have sinned. But Moses said, Why are you disobeying the Lord's command? This will not succeed. Do not go up, because the Lord is not with you. You will be defeated by your enemies, for the Amalekites and the Canaanites will face you there. Because you have turned away from the Lord, he will not be with you, and you will fall by the sword. Nevertheless, in their presumption, they went up toward the highest point in the hill country, though neither Moses nor the ark of the Lord's covenant moved from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites, who lived in that hill country, came down and attacked them and beat them down all the way to Hormah. Till here, Numbers 13 and 14. What a story. So come with me in our Monday. It's pretty hard to hear all this. So it really touched me. But there is a strong blessing, a very deep blessing in living in obedience, which I don't believe that is having fear for the Lord, being afraid for the Lord, and discipline to try to make your life living worth in worshiping and glorifying the Lord. They probably had some difficulties, the Israelites, because it was in the beginning that they recognized one God. So I don't want to condemn them, okay? I'm just giving a little bit of an expression about discipline and obedience. So come with me. God made a promise to Abraham, and he was working out the fulfillment of that promise. The problem is, he always moves at his own pace. God's promise to Abraham included two things: a people and a place. It had taken a while, but the first part had come true. Now the people were gathered together, standing literally at the threshold of their place, their promised land. We might understand if the people had doubted his promise before. They'd spent the last 400 years enslaved to Egypt. But recently, God had gotten a move on and things were progressing at a nice, steady pace. He had gotten them out of slavery really quickly. The people would never forget those plagues and that dark night when the angel of death passed over their houses. They would never forget the blood of lambs smeared over their doorposts. And of course, how could they forget what God had done at the Red Sea? It's not every day that water stands up like walls and mud turns to a hiking trail in the blink of an eye. It's not every day that you get to see the mightiest army in the world swallowed up by a body of water, helpless before an unseen God. Oh, and just in case there was any doubt left, let's not forget the whole smoking mountaintop with all the lightning and thunder. This Yahweh character made outrageous promises, but he had the goods to back them up. You might say that God had demonstrated both his willingness and his ability to see this whole project through to the end. And still, slavery tends to breed a sense of inferiority in people. When they actually saw the Lord God had promised them, they were overjoyed. The land itself was incredible, better than they ever imagined. If only there weren't already people living there. God told them it was their land. God told them to go and take it. He had enough firepower to ensure their success, but they backed away. And the reason they give is telling, we look like grasshoppers in our own eyes. There are a few things in the world more painful than missed opportunities. Here were the Israelites standing on the verge of finally having their own land, of really becoming the nation God promised them they would be. And they shied away. It wasn't really because of how big the people there were. It was because of how the Israelites saw themselves. Over the course of the next 40 years, they would have plenty of time to rethink their position as they wandered from station to station, walking in the hot sun of the Arabian desert, eating manna and quail all day, every day. They would master two things. First, they mastered the art of complaining. Oy vey. Second, they figured out slowly how to take their eyes off of themselves and look to the God who had chosen them, inferior as they might feel, to be His people. Once they did that, they realized He really was big enough to take care of business on His own. May the Lord bless you in your mornings, in your noontime and evening. And yes, you consider this story you heard from Numbers. Consider what you think about your God and how it was before you both met. And giving everything back in your evenings when you lay yourself to rest, offering Him the worship and glorify Him in your day, a new week, and whatever was coming in between. Don't hide it. And let Him bless you and the dear ones close to your heart. Blessings to all of you, my dear ones. This is your Pastor Yeti. Bye.